You want to know what's really wild to me? Democrats went digging through thousands of Epstein emails, not to clean up any mess, not to get any sort of justice. No. But to try one more lazy smear on Donald John Quavius Trump, as mother likes to call him. But in the process, they managed to, shocker here, humiliate Jasmine Crockett, expose their own redactions, and prove again that the Epstein-Trump bombshell is a political fanfic that falls apart the second you read the fine print. Let's start here.
The House Democrats just exposed Trump for being with an underage Epstein victim for hours, except they lied to you. They redacted the girl's name because it would blow up their entire story. The alleged victim, Virginia Giuffre, was crystal clear in her deposition as well in her own self-written memoir that President Trump did nothing wrong and was actually very friendly to her. Did you see Trump and Epstein together? No. Did he flirt with you? No. And so on. These Democrats have no integrity, they are evil, and they have learned nothing from what their rhetoric did to Charlie Kirk.
At all. So House Democrats dropped these Epstein emails and screamed, "We finally got Trump with an underage victim for hours." They hid the girl. They hid. Make sure I emphasize hid the girl's name like it was some devastating secret. Because if you saw the name, the whole storyline collapses instantly. That redacted mystery victim, Republicans say, is Virginia. How you say this? Jeffery? Yeah, they just said it. Okay, y'all know I'm horrible with names. But the same Virginia who did a deposition wrote a whole book and said flat out, Trump did nothing wrong. Didn't see him with Epstein, didn't see him with the girls. She said he was actually friendly and not inappropriate. So Democrats took her pain, her story, and twisted it into a clickbait smear she never signed off on. And that's where Jasmine Crockett walks into a buzzsaw. Let's go, CNN.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand, but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
This is an email from April 2nd.
Her truth or the truth. Oh, my gosh. That was brutal. The CNN host actually laid it out. An Epstein email from 2011. Republicans say the redacted victim is Virginia. She wrote a book. She did not accuse Trump of any wrongdoing. Then asked Jasmine Crockett the simplest question on earth. I mean, so simple. What do you make of that? And Jasmine, her whole body language says, I didn't study for this test. She won't confirm the name. She says she doesn't trust Republicans, even though her own party did the redaction. Then she tries to hide behind the whole protecting victims. Man, the victim who already went public, already wrote a book, already told her truth, and according to the reports, tragically took her own life. So ask yourself, is that protecting the victim or using the dead woman's story as a prop because it posed well against Trump? And while she's on TV pretending to be the moral authority on protecting victims, here's what she's doing with donor money.
The hog right now. And for a woman who is openly flirting with trying to run for Texas Senate seat against Senator either John Cornyn or whoever comes out of that primary, you are seeing a woman who's not spending an awful lot of time in Texas. That whole list of places she's been living high on the hog, I didn't see anything mentioning Dallas or Houston or Laredo or Amarillo. Right. She's all across the country making sure that she is getting taken care of, that her nails look fabulous, and that she is sounding off however she wants to. The hog right now.
Excuse my language here, but I gotta say what Gunther Eagleman posted. Jasmine Crockett getting her ass roasted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, she getting sauteed. I mean, y'all just seen look, y'all just seen the graphic, right? Ritz-Carlton and Martha's Vineyard, Edison Hotels in New York and West Hollywood, Vegas resorts, limo service all over the map. 50 grand on security. She's not protecting victims. She's protecting room service and turn down service. Notice what's missing from that list? A district, Dallas, Houston, Amarillo, nothing. She's out here spending like a celebrity, then hopping in front of a CNN camera telling you she's the guardian of the broken and abused. And this is the person we are supposed to trust with redacting key names in Epstein documents? Nah, we need some more context. We need to see who Democrats are desperately trying to smear and who they're trying to shield. So roll the Fox clip with Mollie. How do you say her last? Hemingway. There we go.
But back to the original point, like that this is even a story today is something of a scandal, meaning Democrats, they went out of their way to obstruct the name of the individual in question to make it seem like Donald Trump might have some secret here that needs to be exposed. And the reason why they obstructed the name is because Virginia Giuffre, the victim of Epstein, had publicly and repeatedly said that Donald Trump had never witnessed or participated in any bad activity. So this is just hard to take people seriously that they actually care about this. There are multiple people who have relationships with Epstein. Reid Hoffman, a Democrat super donor, had a very lengthy and sustained and intimate relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. It would be interesting to know more about that. Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, had a relationship. We even have, Ehud Barak had a relationship. Like, these are interesting things, but when you make it just about Donald Trump, when we already know about it, and we already know that they had a falling out because of how Epstein was handling the situation at Mar-a-Lago, that he got kicked out. It's just, I agree there's like stuff to know, but it's not being handled in any way responsibly here.
Mollie, just for the record, I'm sorry, I agree. Democrats or Republicans, I don't care who you are in these files. It needs to be out there. Whatever their relationship was, I have no qualms about the Democrats.
Well, with Adelina Galva now being the 218th vote, it looks like we're going to see a lot more. But I just wanted to go back to what Virginia Giuffre said about Donald Trump. This was from January 2016. She said, quote, "I don't think Donald Trump participated in anything. I never saw or witnessed Donald Trump participate in those acts, but he was in the house of Jeffrey Epstein. I've heard he has been, but I haven't seen him myself, so I don't know." So what about this email that says, oh, we spent hours with her? And why would the name be redacted when this was already out there about Virginia Giuffre?
It's a nothing burger. And I agree with you that we should know everything. We actually should have known everything during the 4 years that the Biden administration was in charge and had access to all of this information and could have released it. And if there was anything incriminating about Donald Trump, we would know it already, because everything they possibly could throw at him, they threw at him in the last few years. And it's just...
Boom. I mean, Mollie breaks it down perfectly. Democrats obstruct the name, drag out this email, and build a whole narrative like, oh, there's a dark Trump secret in here. Meanwhile, the woman they're hinting about, Virginia Giuffre, I believe that's how you pronounce her last name, Spink is telling people Trump never touched her, never abused her, never did things you're supposed to assume when you hear Epstein email plus underage girl plus Trump. They know that. They've seen the deposition. They've seen the book. But they also know most people won't read 20,000 pages of documents, so they count on headlines and selective redactions to do the dirty work. And you can see the pattern. Trump, the R word from a civil case built on a law they changed. Trump, the felon, right? From charges twisted out of bookkeeping entries. Trump, the Epstein accomplice, from an email they edited like a movie trailer. And every time they need someone like Jasmine Crockett to run interference on TV. But behind the scenes, even Republicans trying to release all the files. I said that right. Are getting blocked.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. Just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent, of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now here they've had it for 4 years, and they obviously if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, no, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. They blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
Of course they're not.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett.
Tim Burchett walks off the floor and says, I tried to get the Epstein file straight to the floor, and Democrats blocked it. Think about that. Like, really think about that. The same people pretending to be obsessed with the truth about Trump and Epstein shut down the move to drop the whole file cabinet on the table unredacted. If there was some nuclear level career ending Trump email in those pages, you don't think they would have leaked that first? Instead, they cherry pick, redact names that help Trump, leak the most suggestive lines, and then shove Jasmine Crockett and friends in front of a camera to keep the illusion going. But when you zoom out, it's bigger than Epstein. There's a whole pattern here.
Don, these are emails that show Jeffrey Epstein mentioning Donald Trump by name multiple times in private correspondence that he had with people, including Ghislaine Maxwell, obviously his longtime associate and accomplice, and also the author Michael Wolff, in a time span of about the last 15 years or so in these emails. Now, these are coming out from the House Oversight Committee. They had issued a bipartisan subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate, John, as you know, earlier this year. And so they've gotten their hands on a trove of documents. And these are emails that included Jeffrey Epstein on them. They were sent either to him or from him that mentioned Donald Trump before he was in office and also while he was in office during his first term.
So I'm going to give you my take on what I think is happening. I think Democrats are working to manufacture outrage about Donald Trump. I'm not necessarily claiming the emails are false. What I am saying is I think they have an agenda behind what they're doing, and I'm going to kind of explain why I think this and kind of lay out a pattern that's been happening. All right, let's go back in time. Let's think about E. Jean Carroll and how a bunch of people on the left called Trump a rapist, which first off is a lie. So first off, New York went and changed the law. It's called the Adult Survivors Act, and it opened up a 1-year window for civil sexual assault victims to sue even if the statute of limitations had expired. So what E. Jean Carroll was saying happened was in the mid-1990s. So Democrats went back, changed the law, and opened it up to where she could sue him. That's what she did, and then they charged him. So the Democrats manufactured Trump into a racist. Now let's go back to Trump and the hush money thing. You know how he's a felon. So they charged him with falsifying business records in the first degree. But what they did is they elevated a misdemeanor into a felony. And they did that by alleging it was done to conceal another crime, meaning he was falsifying his business records to conceal another crime, and then that allows them to elevate it into a felony. So what do? They do exactly that, and then they convict him of 34 counts, or however many counts it was. And now Trump is a felon. And then during the election, what were they using? Trump is a felon. People still say that he's a felon, he's a rapist. So he's a manufactured rapist, and he's a manufactured felon. Now let's take this to the shutdown. This is the longest shutdown in the history of the country. Well, who is doing it? Democrats. Now pay attention. Let's see if they try to use that as a talking point later. Under Trump, our country had the longest shutdown. Let's see if that happens. They caused it, and then they're going to try to use it as something to blame Trump. Now they're doing the same thing. They're trying to damage his reputation and tie him to Jeffrey Epstein, trying to attach another label to him. The Democratic Party cares more about harming and attacking Donald Trump than they actually care about working for the American people. And that's a problem. But if you pay attention, Democrats create the labels that they want to call Trump, and then they go out there en masse and call him that. Just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter where I give you morning updates, and I go into more detail on many of these topics that I talk about. That's a great place to get information from me. The link is in my bio. Just go there, click the link, drop your email in, hit subscribe, and you'll be good to go.
Shout out to Jeffery Mead, man. But he lays out the blueprint, changed the law, opened a window for an old allegation, and screamed the R word, stretch a misdemeanor bookkeeping charge into 34 felony counts. And then you can scream convicted felon, drag out a shutdown, later say, under Trump, we had the longest shutdown ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, drop the redacted Epstein emails and imply things the evidence doesn't say, scream Epstein. It's not truth seeking, it's label manufacturing. The goal isn't justice. The goal is, I think, what can we call him on TV? And how many people can we scare with it? And that's exactly why Jasmine Crockett looked so shook when she was on CNN. Because once you pull the redaction off and say, you know, Virginia, I don't want to mess up her last name again. Once you read what she actually said about Trump, the entire smear campaign flips back. And it flips back on the people who pushed it. So here's what, so far, these Democrats have exposed. Well, this week has exposed, rather. Trump, the guy they tried to frame in the Epstein email, so far is clear by the very woman they're exploiting. Virginia, whose pain should have been handled with honesty, gets turned into a political prop by people who claim to protect victims. Tim Burchett tries to release all the files, and Democrats slam the door. Jasmine Crockett, she tries to hide behind redactions on TV while receipts show her living first class off donor. I can't even talk. Donor money. That's not justice. It's a brand strategy built on people's trauma. You don't have to like Trump to see what's going on here. Same crew, same tactics, same labels. And every time you pull back the curtain, it's weaker than the last one, Democrats. Jasmine Crockett wasn't a fact check. Wasn't just fact check this week. He was exposed as the perfect face of the party that would spend your money at the Ritz, spend your trust on a lie, and then tell you it's for your own good. If you made it to the end of this video, we're just going to put one word: unredacted. Or, dang, was that the word? Is it unredacted or redacted? No, we're just going to put redacted. Just put it got redacted. There we go. I'm over here doing too much. Y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.